Ickey Woods for a couple. Darren Como, acquired on waivers from the 49ers this year, number 53, spearheaded the charge. He's actually playing in Brian Bosworth's linebacker spot. Green, Nash, and Bryant, the veteran defensive line. No huddle by the Bengals. Schultz, Como, Wyman, and Woods are the linebackers. And the back four, Taylor and Jennings at the corners. Paul Moyer and Eugene Robinson, the safety man. Robinson at free safety leads in tackles. Second down and 8. Esiason's first throw underneath to Woods. He fumbled the ball. No, incomplete. Did not have control. Woods, who caught 21 balls during the year, has good hands. This 232-pound rookie from University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
This is what Sam White calls the attack offense. There's no huddle. The team will just come out, get over the ball, and get ready. And it looks like a Seahawk is down. Possibly Nash, the nose tackle. Boy, that would be a big loss for this team if it is Joe Nash.
We'll sort out who the injured player is when we return. It is 72 Joe Nash. They are not deep at that position. An early timeout in Cincinnati.
For a big man at 6'5", 220 pounds, he really gets up the field well.
And he knows how to baseball slide. He was a fine pitcher in high school, went 15-0. In fact, he, as a gimmick, tried out with the Brewers last spring when he was down in the Phoenix area. They were impressed with his left-handed fastball. Yeah, Seattle not impressed with that play as they are able to stack up with Jacob Green and Bruce Schultz. Ickey Woods, the fullback.
They have punched in several big plays right over Jacob Green, and Jacob finally saying, look, you can come and get me a couple of times, but it's not going to work every time, as he made a fine play on that last run.
Couple of yards lost. No huddle by Cincinnati. Innovative Sam White, young coach of the Bengals, going to put pressure on the defenses with his system. Underneath, incomplete. James Brooks, the intended receiver. Esiason with eyes in the back of his head, getting rid of it just in time.
And here's an interesting ploy by Seattle. You've got to give Seattle time if they have an injured player. Now, this might be shades of painting Frank Veracchioli of Notre Dame. Is that player injured, or are they just waiting for a timeout? That's Nash again. Now, it is Nash again, and he was hurt earlier in the game. They're looking at his leg. But that is a legitimate way, or perhaps an illegitimate way, to get the clock stopped and allow your substitutes on the field. They're looking at Nash's knee, his right knee. That is not good news.
Sam White, and he, I would guess, is thinking as you are, Merlin Olsen. A man who is clever, the magician. He likes amateur prestidigitation. He wants to be a step ahead of the rest of the league, and he certainly has shown that he has his own form of genius. It wasn't that popular last year, however, but suddenly they like it when you win. Well, Green stuffing Brooks for a 2-yard loss on the first carry. Moore skips that one through the defense. Eddie Brown was the closest Bengal. Joe Nash again.
Well, it's that trick knee. And Sam, as much as Sam wants to complain, I've got to be able to say, Sam, you push the rules and take advantage of them too.
They're taking away Matoy.
He's taking away. That's interesting.
And a timeout. Injury timeout. 13:25 left in the third. A gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Brooks stopped for a moment. Moyer gets him as well for a loss back at the 11. Bruce Schultz was the man who stopped him initially and forced him to redirect his route. The field goal No, they're booing now because there is another Seahawk down. This is Ken Clark, who is substituted for Joe Nash. Leading 21-0, and apparently going for more. Weiss not quite so upset by the...
No question in my mind that's what's going on, and all the coaches around the league are looking for a way to get their substitutes on the field and looking at the rule book, saying, what can we do to counter this? Well, I think that's what's been found here today. It's the trick knee defense, and it has allowed them to make their substitution at key points during the game.
Third down and long for Esiason to Brooks. Wyman gets him inside the 5, and Brooks is to the 3. That'll be, I believe, a yard shy of a first down. The fans are telling Whites what they want.
Jack, it's a shame that the rest of Seattle's defense has not worked as well as the trick knee. They have not been able to slow down these running backs and wide receivers. They have not been able to get pressure on Boomer Esiason, and the yardage differential continues to grow.
It'll be interesting now, you know, that Jerry Glanville of the Houston Oilers, Marv Levy, fine coach of the Buffalo Bills, they're up there watching this game, perhaps watching, or their assistant coaches saying, maybe one of us going to be playing here in Cincinnati, it appears, next weekend.
Well, they want somebody. I know who Cincinnati would like to have. We'll talk about that.
We'll be here, or at wherever the site may be. For the top offense in the league. Esiason fumbles, and Seattle recovers at the 32-yard line. Joe Trick Knee Nash comes up with it. So the second time the Seahawks have recovered a fumble in Cincinnati territory. They fumbled it right back, you'll recall, in the first half when they had that chance after the muff of the punt. And we'll see if they can capitalize now. 13:24 to go.
They're still... That hurts.
Second down. It's Brooks. He's pinned after crossing the 25-yard line. It'll be third. And that's 6 or 7. There's a big play for the Seattle defense.
And we have an injury. Surprise, surprise.
And with that injury, 3 defenders come on the field for Seattle. Well, White is yelling across the field at the Seattle coaching staff. Earlier, we thought we saw Knox with a long-distance rebuttal. You play your game, I'll play mine. 10:19 to go. Timeout. Seattle would like to get their package defense, their nickel defense, on the field. On 3rd and 5, Esiason. Is it a legal catch? No, out of bounds is Eddie Brown. So the Seattle defense has held. Let's watch Nash 72 on this
chance to watch Nash right here. He's not going to be injured on this play, although I'll tell you, the possibility is always there for injury. Now, immediately after the play, I can feel it in my knee. Oh, just a second. It's the knee.
I hope he doesn't take his phone off the hook. Michael Weissman, our executive producer, might invite him to be part of the Super Bowl talent contest.
We've seen some interesting misuse, if you will, of the rules of the rule book today. People feel that Sam White stretches the rules with his attack offense, and we've seen what appear to be some interesting injuries today. Gotta wonder what Don Shula, who's on the rules committee, would have to say about that. Maybe we can get somebody to get a chance to talk to him about that. I'd like to know what he has to say about it.
Well, in the postgame show, chain him down. Put that seatbelt on him, Bob Costas. I'd like to hear what Coach Shula thinks about all this. Play action, Esiason. Ooh, through the hands of Holman. Paul Moyer might have blocked the side of Holman. He was in front of the play, and it just slipped out of the big tight end's mitts.
Well, and there goes an injury.
Joe Nash. No, it's Ken Clark. The designated position. It's the nose tackle. Nash and Clark, it must be the position, have been hit with these rash of injuries. Trick knees.
Sam has begun to accept it now.
And you look over at Chuck Knox and those baby blue eyes of his, he just looks so innocent.
Well, this is 8th grade Sewickley. Would say you meet a problem, you deal with it, you find a solution to it. And they have found a rather interesting solution to getting their defense on and off the field.
Well, while they attend to Joe Nash's knee, and who knows, he may be hurt. Let's go to NFL Live in New York, and here's Don Shula.
All right, Dick, along with Bob Costas, and in fact, Joe Nash might have a legitimate injury, but suppose he doesn't. Don Shula, of course, for many years, one of the leading individuals on the Rules Committee. Suppose this is a fake situation, and that's what the officials diagnose. Are they able to invoke some kind of rule to take care of this?
Certainly, they could invoke unsportsmanlike conduct. If they recognize that this is happening and it's a fake and there's no real injury there, then they can, first of all, warn the player, warn the bench, go over and warn Chuck Knox that they're going to throw the flag, and if it continues to happen, they can throw the flag, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Meanwhile, there's nothing illegal about the quick huddle offense or no huddle offense used by the Bengals.
That's perfectly legal. There's nothing that says in the book that you have to huddle up, and that's part of the 2-minute offense. They can use it during the course of the ball game. It's the responsibility of Seattle to match up to it.
Meanwhile, as the coach, you've got to at least respect the resourcefulness employed thus far by Chuck Knox, because until they stop him from doing it, why not try it?
Well, first of all, you have to do things that are within the rules, and I think that everybody would say that this is outside of the rules, telling somebody to fake an injury, and I think it makes a farce out of the game.
Of course, what may happen next is that a doctor's note, just like one that gets you out of school, a doctor's note may be produced tomorrow by the Seattle physician, which shows us that Joe Nash was in fact hurt. Let's go back to Riverfront.
All right, Rodriguez to punt as Seattle successfully stops the Bengals, and also with the incomplete pass, stop the clock. Just under 5 minutes to go as Edmonds at his 30 slips at the 33-yard line. The other difficult part for the officials will be in Chicago next week. Paul Brown. He is one victory away from a Super Bowl, and Steve Largent, who courageously came on to hold the greatest pass receiver in the history of the game statistically. Sad sight.
There was no handshake by the coaches after the game. Maybe that's appropriate with the kind of information and looks going back and forth across the field.
And I'm anxious. We're going to get Boomer Esiason. Don't wander away. We're going to ask Boomer Esiason the feeling of the Bengals about the ploy used apparently by Seattle in using the trick knee. 21-13 the final. We'll be right back.